What happens when the world falls in love with a version of you that doesn't actually exist? In 2012, a stuttering, nervous teenager stepped onto the Britain's Got Talent stage and delivered a vocal performance that changed the industry forever. But while the cameras captured a heartwarming underdog story, the reality behind the curtain was a spiraling descent into a personal nightmare. Today, we're pulling back the veil on Jonathan Antoine's latest news, a story of a radical transformation, a battle with inner demons, and a secret struggle that nearly silenced one of the greatest voices of our generation. The world saw a partnership, but the contracts told a very different story. For over a decade, fans have wondered what truly happened to the duo known as Jonathan and Charlotte. On screen, they were the perfect team, but as our investigation into the industry reveals, the pressure to maintain that image was unsustainable. When Simon Cowell famously suggested Jonathan go solo, it planted a seed of doubt that grew into a massive rift. News reports from the time focused on their friendship, but the reality was a high-stakes corporate tug-of-war. The label wanted a solo star. Jonathan wanted loyalty. This conflict led to an eventual parting of ways that was far more clinical and painful than the amicable split the PR team suggested. For Jonathan, this wasn't just a career change, it was the loss of his safety net. The transition to a solo artist forced him into a spotlight he wasn't prepared for, leading to a period of intense scrutiny where every move he made was compared to his past. This wasn't just a professional divide. It was the beginning of a total identity crisis that would take years to resolve. Insiders suggest that the legalities of the split were so complex that they restricted his ability to release new music for a significant period, leaving him in a state of professional limbo. This forced silence fed the first round of rumors that his career was effectively over before it had even reached its peak. But as we've discovered, the silence wasn't just about contracts. It was about a young man trying to figure out if he even wanted to be a singer anymore. The weight of being a prodigy had become a golden cage, and the bars were starting to close in. Behind the soaring, high notes was a mind that felt like it was constantly under siege. In a recent and courageous series of disclosures, Jonathan revealed the hidden factors that made his rise to fame a living HLL. For years, he navigated the world with undiagnosed autism and severe OCD, conditions that make the sensory overload of fame feel like physical pain. Imagine the flashing lights, the screaming fans, and the constant travel. For someone on the spectrum, this isn't just part of the job. It's a constant trigger for a mental breakdown. Sources close to the singer reveal that there were nights after major performances where Jonathan would sit in total darkness for hours, unable to process the day's events. He's been vocal about his darkest days, a period where he struggled with thoughts of giving up entirely, what some have described as a total shutdown. To comply with safety standards, we won't go into graphic detail, but it's been revealed that he reached a point where his mental health was so fragile that medical intervention was the only path forward. He wasn't just sad or stressed. He was fighting a neurological battle that the public was completely unaware of. This period of his life was marked by intense isolation, where he withdrew from the public eye to undergo therapy and learn how to manage a world that wasn't built for him. The courage it took to return to the stage while managing these conditions cannot be overstated. It redefines the nervous persona we saw on TV. It wasn't stage fright. It was a neurodivergent mind trying to survive a neurotypical industry. His story has since become a beacon for others in similar positions, but the cost to his personal life during those missing years was astronomical. When Jonathan finally reemerged, the public didn't just see a new man. They saw a total physical transformation that sparked immediate concern. The headlines were everywhere. Jonathan Antoine's shocking weight loss. He had shed over 50 pounds, appearing lean, sharp, and almost unrecognizable. But the narrative that this was just a simple diet and exercise story is a massive oversimplification. In truth, Jonathan's physical change was a desperate response to a health scare that had been kept under wraps for months. Close associates hint that his weight had reached a point where his heart and lungs, the very tools he needs to sing, were under immense strain. The transformation was a survival tactic. However, the speed of his change led to wild speculation on social media, with some fans fearing he had gone too far or was suffering from a new illness. The reality was a grueling, disciplined overhaul of his lifestyle that many doubted he could maintain. This wasn't just about looking good for an album cover. It was about reclaiming his body from the big kid persona the media had forced on him. Yet this change brought its own set of problems. In the classical world, there is a long-standing myth that losing weight can ruin a tenor's voice. Jonathan had to prove the critics wrong, showing that his power came from his soul and his training, not his size. This period was marked by an intense testing of his new body, where he had to relearn how to breathe and support his massive vocal range while carrying half the weight. The rumors of him being unwell persisted, but Jonathan used that energy to fuel his most intense rehearsal schedule to date, proving that the new version of himself was stronger than the old one ever could have been. As his look changed, so did his sound, and the traditional opera world was not happy. Jonathan's recent news isn't just about his appearance. It's about a radical shift in his musical direction that has split the classical community down the middle. For years, he was the golden boy of traditional opera, but his latest projects have leaned heavily into pop-era, a fusion of classical vocals with modern production. This move has been met with fierce resistance from purists who claim he is diluting the art form for commercial gain. Investigative look into his recent recording sessions suggests that this wasn't a corporate decision, but a personal one. Jonathan felt stifled by the rigid rules of the opera world, where he was expected to dress, act, and sing in a way that felt like a costume. The backlash has been significant, with some traditional venues reportedly hesitant to book him because his new style doesn't fit the brand. But the controversy goes deeper. Rumors have surfaced that major figures in the classical industry tried to block his transition, leading to a series of behind-the-scenes conflicts that nearly cost him his recording contract. Jonathan's decision to push forward anyway shows a level of defiance we've never seen from him. He is no longer the boy who does what he's told by Simon Cowell or any other mogul. He is an artist taking a massive gamble on his future, choosing authenticity over the safety of a guaranteed audience. This conflict highlights the dark side of the music industry, where artists are often treated like products rather than people, and any attempt at evolution is seen as a threat to the bottom line. For several months recently, Jonathan went completely dark, leading to a wave of missing person theories among his most dedicated followers. Social media can be a cruel place for a celebrity, and when Jonathan stopped posting entirely in late 2024, the speculation turned dark. Some suggested he had suffered a medical emergency, while others feared he had walked away from music forever. Our latest intelligence suggests the truth is far more exciting. During this blackout period, Jonathan was reportedly in a high-security studio in the United States, working on a project that is being described as a genre-defying collaboration. While the details are guarded by strict non-disclosure agreements, sources indicate that he is working with a major Hollywood composer to bridge the gap between cinematic scores and chart-topping pop. The secrecy surrounding this project has been intense, with Jonathan reportedly wanting to shock the world with a comeback that no one saw coming. This wasn't just a vacation. It was a tactical retreat to refine his craft and prepare for a global relaunch. The rumors of a major collaboration have sent shockwaves through the fan community, with many speculating that he might be the voice of a massive new film franchise. If true, this would propel him far beyond the world of reality TV and into the stratosphere of global superstars. The silence wasn't a sign of weakness. It was the quiet before the storm. As we move further into 2026, the anticipation for this secret work has reached a fever pitch, with industry insiders predicting it will be the most significant release of his career. Jonathan Antoine's journey is a reminder that the person we see on screen is often just a fragment of the true story. From the shy kid who was told he wasn't good enough on his own, to a man who has rebuilt his body, his mind, and his music from the ground up, his evolution is nothing short of miraculous. He's faced the crushing weight of fame, the isolation of neurodivergence, and the harsh judgment of an industry that hates change. But as he stands on the verge of his biggest chapter yet, one thing is clear. Jonathan Antoine is no longer playing by anyone else's rules. He has survived the emotional journey that destroys many artists, and he's done it with a grace that is as powerful as his voice. It leaves us with one final question. In a world that constantly tries to put us in a box, do we have the courage, like Jonathan, to break out and find our own sound?